What was Senator McConnell thinking?
Yeah, so in the intervening hours since we last spoke, Mitch McConnell's effort to put forward a straight repeal of Obamacare have failed, with 3 female senators saying they will not actually do a vote to have the bill even go forward in the Senate. This was a very interesting political move. It was an attempt by Mitch McConnell to get people who had, we should really remember, in past moves had voted for a full repeal of Obamacare. We're in a very different political situation now. This has been a disaster for Mitch McConnell personally, for Donald Trump moving forward. But there's one really important thing to take forward from this. This bill has now failed. But the exchanges and the healthcare system under Obamacare does have severe problems. Both Democrats and Republicans acknowledge that. Premiums are too high in some markets. Insurers have pulled out, leaving a very few number of people providing plans under the Affordable Care Act in certain markets as well. Those problems are not going away. So what the president needs to do, and what Congress is going to have to do, is start talking to each other across the aisles about what actually is a practical way forward to fix some of these problems in the healthcare system right now, which they both acknowledge. Well,
let me bring you in on this, Sahil, because that's just not going to happen, is it?
Not anytime soon, Vani. I don't think Republicans straight out after a failure as monumental as this can simply go and say, okay, Democrats, let's work together. But there is an appetite to do this. There are a number of relatively moderate Republican senators, mostly Susan Collins, a little bit Ron Johnson, who have been talking to Democratic senators privately about a Plan B, and that includes basically a stabilization fund and reinsurance. There's $50 billion worth of stabilization in this Republican, I guess in the Republican bill that died yesterday. That is not coming up, but that concept is still supported widely. Senator McConnell said eventually if Republicans cannot pass their own bill, then he'll have to negotiate with Senator Schumer, the Democratic leader, on a way forward, because nobody really thinks the markets as they stand are sustainable without some tweaks. Now, you mentioned President Trump's comments that he is willing to let the ACA fail and that he and the Republicans won't be blamed, it'll be the Democrats. This tends not to work in practice. The party that controls everything almost always gets blamed for when things go wrong, even when they happen on their watch, even if they're not directly responsible for them. There are polls that suggest Republicans would overwhelmingly be blamed if the markets collapse and nothing is done about it, which is why I think Senator McConnell has been skeptical about the idea of doing nothing.
And